Hello makers, welcome to Always Yarn First, a podcast about knitting, crochet, spinning, and all the yarny goodness in between. I'm Lindsay and I'm coming to you from Little Rock, Arkansas. And as always, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Welcome! Before we get into it, quickly mention make-alongs, some admin I have going on, hashtag nothing but double. Make-along is a year-long make-along I'm doing with my friend Lori from Arkansas Yarn Co. We are making any size blankets. You have to hold yarn double. Any yarn double, the same yarn double, different yarn, and make a blanket. And you can enter on hashtag or the Arkansas Yarn Co. Ravelry group page, which will be linked below. And then hashtag It's Marling Darling. That is 2 different yarns held together. That ends this month. In fact, I have pulled a winner from Ravelry and Instagram. So I will magically put the names here. And congratulations, if you see your name here, please email me at AlwaysYarnFirst@gmail.com and I will get a prize package out to you. Also, one more bit of admin. It's going to kind of go along with my finished object. But if you are local-ish to the area of Arkansas and you are interested in learning Tunisian crochet, I have a class coming up at Arkansas Yarn Co. in Malvern, and it will be Saturday, August 5th. This will be for beginner Tunisian crochet class. So I will I don't know, it's not up yet, but once the website has an update where you can sign up for the class, I will put the link below to that. All right. So welcome. This is episode 40. Today is Friday, June 23rd. And let's see, if you're new here, I name every episode by a song title. And usually one that tries to go along with a theme or something that I love. This week's song title is One by U2, and that is because the majority of my time the last couple weeks has been on one project. Maybe you can guess what it is. So, could be a shorter episode. We'll see. So, I do have a podcast playlist on Spotify. I have that linked below, so every single song title of every episode is on that podcast playlist if you are interested in taking a listen. All right, so today I have one finished object, no new cast-ons if you can believe it. I'm only going to share a couple of whips because I've been pretty monogamous. There is some spinning, and then we will go into acquisitions and future makes. So let's get into what I'm wearing. So I wasn't wearing a knit, I will be honest. I don't, just sit around the house with shawls on usually. However, I have quite a bit of shawls, and so I thought I would start at least highlighting them on here. So I am wearing the Lightweight Hipster by Locatelli. We'll take it off. It is a one skein shawl. I love how it curly cues there on the end. So yeah, I have linked below to my project page, and you can get any information about that, including what yarn I used. So, all right, so let's get into my one very small finished object. So it still counts, but this is related. Oh, and I just threw it on the floor. Okay, so last podcast you saw me show this Tunisian crochet washcloth. This was just some leftover yarn I had from my 7 sisters, Queensland cotton. I knew I was going to be teaching a class, so I had stopped at Arkansas Yarn Co. on my way to Dallas last week and picked up another hank of yarn. I accidentally got the fine cotton though. So I made a teeny tiny little washcloth. This is the same stitch as the other one. This is the Tunisian simple stitch. So I'm going to hold it up so you can kind of get a difference. I used the same hook. So even though this is very different, I think it looks good on both of these. So yeah. So both of these are the exact same stitch. We will be making this during my class so that you can actually go home with something and you can get used to the feeling of what that stitch feels like in your hand. I'm kind of thinking that we'll probably do it with a thicker one just because it'll be easier to go in those stitches. But I really like this as like a face cloth, a real soft. So I love this. I just finished it today. It's curling. I haven't blocked it, and I did weave in my end, but I evidently forgot to trim it. So just finished this so I could take pictures so Jessica could post the class on the website. So yeah, that is my only finished object. All right, so I cast on nothing new. I've been pretty good. Now there are a couple whips that I technically have picked up since the last podcast, but I've done like a couple rows, like my Lamana. I have not been doing daily, like that was my goal, but I have picked up a couple times, but showing you, you would not even be able to tell the difference. I also picked up my Opal tank and worked a couple rows, literally, because I needed something mindless, and I just grabbed that one day, but I'm not going to show those because you wouldn't even know to tell. So I'm going to show 3 items. First, I have worked on more of my friend's sock I'm making, and I had finished the first sock of this except for Afterthought heels, and then this bag is pretty compact, so I took it out of the bag, and I don't know where I laid the sock. I'm sure it's around here. I'm not panicking yet, but this is actually the second sock. So this is in my Black Pearl Magic bag. This is Must Stash Yarns. And I do have the tag in here. This is the Dark Emperor colorway, and it is a Star Wars theme, so you usually can only get it once, maybe twice a year. I think she might sell it, the Star Wars colors. And so it's basically Palpatine colorway. And this is for my friend Scott, and I'm not doing a pattern. I cast on 64 stitches. I did a 1x1 ribbing, and then after the cuff, I switched over to a 3x1 ribbing. So it has plenty of give. This is the first sock I've made for him. So yeah, this is, I picked the second sock up, and I shouldn't be surprised, but every time I cast on a sock, being that I don't regularly have one on all the time, I'm always surprised how fast I go on socks. Like, I really do enjoy having at least a sock on my needle at all times. And it's such a small project that you can throw in your purse. If you're like me, I have a giant purse, so I just throw this bag in. Okay, my second object is technically a half object. So this is half of the Streamline tank. This is by 2 of Wands. I have previously made one of these. This is using Bamboo Pop. This is the color Winter Squash, I believe. And this pattern usually has kind of like a teardrop motif down here, both on the front and the back. You basically are supposed to make 2 full panels of the exact same thing. It's written once and it says make 2 of them. So this time I decided at least with one of them I wasn't going to do it, so then you could easily tell where the back was. So this will be the back panel. I still haven't decided if I want to do the patterning for the front part, or if I just want just a nice basic tank. The patterning is kind of like these edge stitches, so they're a little more see-through, which means you'd have to wear like a camisole or something underneath. And so I just don't know if I want to do that. I kind of like how that looks right there. So yeah, so I literally just finished this morning also. I had made a mistake somewhere. I was doing the second strap and I had made some mistake that I had to rip back a little bit. So I'm just like, I'm just going to do it before the podcast so that this is just one complete piece. So I've done that. The project is in my Care Bears bag from Laura from Knit for Brains. And much like people are afraid of second sock syndrome, they don't cast on right away. They're not going to do it right away. So I decided to immediately cast on the second part. And I just finished the bottom ribbing. So here it is. So you can see here, I just have that little bit of ribbing at the bottom. So I'm basically just ready to stockinette stitch. So yeah, so this will be another nice easy project if I need a break from my main project. This is really easy because that's how this one got done so fast, because I love working with this bamboo pop. It feels good in my hands. It's nice and light, airy. I love the color. I love seeing it be built, and I just kept working on it. And so compared to my last project, this will be one, if I need something different, this will probably be what I pick up, because it is now just knitting, purling, knitting, purling. So yeah, I'm happy to be almost done with another summer top. All right, any guesses what the third project I've been working on is? It is in my Paradise Island bag. It is my sample knit. So here are my yarns. The yarn is Luminous Brooklyn and the Dazzling DK base, 100% merino wool. The brown is Walnut and the pink is Roseland. So I have really made some good progress here. Straighten it out. And I have it, I just put it on giant cables. So you can see my progress keeper down here where I was. So let me put it upside down so it kind of hangs easier. There we go. Look at that. I love it. I love it. Oh, it looks so good. It looks so, so good. So yeah, there is a lot of stitches on my needles. So I just went up to, I think it's a 50-inch cord. Don't need to do that. It could have been squished, but for the sake of both showing it on here, showing it on pictures, and just, it's pleasing to the eye. You know, when you're working on something, I think part of the joy, some projects while we work on them, is because we like to kind of see it come to life. And so that is definitely this project. So if it got all squished up on the needles, it wouldn't bring as much joy. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's coming along really well. I had a minor setback where I always tell myself this and other people as a reminder to stop and look at your knitting. Now that might sound really silly, but if you knit all the time, which if you're watching this, I'm assuming you do knit or crochet all the time. So we get in the project and of course we're looking at our knitting, but sometimes you have to stop, look at your knitting from a distance. So I had gotten quite a ways in, and of course I have a deadline for this, and something didn't look right. And I went like this and I'm like, that's not right. I noticed that the lining up the different things, there was like one of the brown lines has to be between all of these running straight down. And it was not. It was off on one side. And there was no budging because it was like a whole section and it would have been a mess. So I had to frog back quite a way and redo it. So then I felt really frustrated and a little bit stressed. Again, I think I have about 3 more weeks to work on it, but it just stressed me that I was like backtracking in progress. So the other day I told my husband and my daughter, I'm like, I'm working on this shawl today. And they're like, yeah, you knit every day. I'm like, no, but I'm working on this shawl all day. Like, this is going to be what I work on because I have to like just touch this shawl right now. So I did, and I feel in a good place. I mean, I have quite a bit to go. It keeps growing stitches, but it looks perfect. I'm really enjoying working on it. This is a mosaic knitting project. I did have another thing. So it's not technically floats because you're not catching them, but here's what the back looks like. You see this little area here? There's like a little brown thing here. So I did make a mistake where instead of holding yarn, I don't remember, in the front, I was holding it in the back. And so I had to, that one I was able to just kind of like drop stitch, jump and correct and move the yarn. But it meant I had a little extra yarn here. So I'm hoping to do a little thing with some leftovers at the end and just kind of weave that in. But it was not worth it. You can't tell on this side at all. It's just a little extra little nub of yarn right there. So otherwise, I'm really loving this project. I'm not bored with it. It's very intuitive now. It's very quick for me. Even with the long rows, I find that I'm getting through the repeats pretty fast, which is great. So definitely a confidence booster once you get going on with this project. So yeah, that is the pressed flowers shawl. So that is the one project I have had the most love on, which will be continued to do that next. So that's why my other projects aren't getting as much love right now. And you guys, we're less than 20 minutes in, and that is all my whips, which is fine. This is, I usually don't stay like a monogamous project person. I'm usually all over the place, but it has been interesting to see when I spend majority of my time on one project, how much you can get done. So it's just a difference there. But don't worry, I have spinning and I have acquisitions. So let's get into spinning for a minute. All right, so spinning. Last podcast, I talked about Tour de Fleece coming out July 1st. And so one thing I was trying to do before the end of the month is I had started this spin with Gritty Knits, my March Mystery Bat colorway. I wanted to finish spinning all of that bat, and then I was spinning some of this Woolly Witch, gorgeous blue called Sapphire Skies, and I was just going to apply them together. I wanted to basically finish all of this. So I have plenty of this. This I got in a kind of semi-tonal to mix with other things. So I just need to spin enough of this to apply all this together. So I am done spinning all of this. I have this and one more bobbin. I just finished this last night. So that is done. I had some of the blue done, and I have done my first skein of them combined. So here it is. Again, this is not washed yet. Kind of looks like a furzy mess, but it is gorgeous. I love the light and dark with that a lot. You know, I haven't really thought a lot of where all my handspun is going to, but I definitely know I want to do a shift, whether it's the cowl or the big shawl, a hat, depending on how much yardage I have for things. And I think this particularly would look awesome in it. So yeah, so there will be more skeins of this hopefully. So now I just have to spin more of the blue, and then I have 2 bobbins of this that I need to apply together. So that way, the beginning of the month, in July, I can start fresh. That way I can keep track of how much spinning I do total. It's fresh, empty bobbins. All right, and I forgot to get this out ahead of time. I think I had previously mentioned that my friend Lori had asked me if she could try dyeing some of my off-white alpaca fiber. She's never dyed fiber. She's, of course, a wonderful yarn dyer, and she was just curious of how it would take. And I'm like, absolutely, sure. So I had given her some off-white fiber. It's pure alpaca, and I was there the day when she dyed it. She just went crazy, and you can see the dye took so well. I mean, it is bright, vivid, just stunning. She just she was a little bit nervous because it seems so fragile when you handle fiber for the first time because it like falls apart. And I'm like, that's the point of it though. So I'm like, even if it falls apart, it's okay because I'm gonna rip it apart to make it into yarn. So these are all the amazing, seriously. So I'm pretty sure these ones are going to be some of the first ones I work on because they're stunning. And I cannot wait to spin them and show her what the yarn looks like. And she doesn't watch this because she does not have time for podcasts. But I'm thinking I would like to knit her up something with the alpaca yarn that she dyed up. So those are not a new purchase. I had previously purchased them, but they're new acquisition in the sense that I picked them up on my way to Dallas. So yeah, so that is all my spinning. Yes, I've pretty much been working on this one project trying to get it off my bobbins. All right, so let's go into acquisitions. Okay, the first thing to show is kind of spinning related, spinning adjacent, is my June Fibre Club. Here's a little sneak peek out of the bag here. I don't think it's picking up that sparkles, but man, it is shiny. So this is from Gritty Knits. I get her Mystery Bat Club. And that's kind of another thing I'm excited for Tour de Fleece is, of course I have all this alpaca, but I would love to kind of catch up on some of my mystery bats and then kind of try to make it a monthly goal to spin up each month's bat. I mean, a whole month to spin one bat when I've been spending all this time, many hours a day, is nothing. Because then too, I can look for semi-tonal things that can kind of go with other things to ply if I don't want to ply them together with themselves. So yes, never unhappy with this. Gritty Knits right now, Houston Fibre Fest is going on this weekend, and she showed a picture of the bats she took there, and I'm like, it's probably a good thing I'm not there because I would probably go a little bit crazy. All right, now let's get into the yarn. So first of all, I bought a couple skeins from a D-Stash. I am part of Love and Stitches membership, Knitty Natty, and we have a D-Stash channel on our Discord, and everyone can post what they, are trying to D-Stash. And so Bethany, who is the Wandering Pearl, used to be Gypsy Bird on YouTube. She is now the Wandering Pearl, and she posted these two beauties. I'm like, yes, please. So first of all, this one I bought because a little bit nostalgia, because this is called Lite Brite. This is by Black Cat Yarns, who I've never heard of. It's 80% BFL, 20% nylon. So pretty. And this one I was super excited about because this is Fangirl Fibers, and this was from her Advent last year, which I didn't get. This was the full skein that was in the advent. And I saw Natalie knit or crochet this up. I don't remember, but I remember seeing it used up, and I thought the color was gorgeous. I mean, it's super pretty here, but knit up it was really gorgeous. And I'm like, oh, I can't even get that yarn. So when Bethany posted this, I was super excited. This is 75/25 merino nylon, and it is called I'd Rather Be at Disney World. It was a Disney World advent. So don't know what I'm going to make, but I'm so excited I nabbed this. And it was a super good deal, as usually D-Stash is. Okay, so then I had talked about I was going to Dallas area. My daughter and I went to McKinney, which is outside of Dallas. I had gone there last year, right before DFW Fibre Festival, and I wanted to go to McKinney Knittery, and I did, and it was stunning. But I then discovered like the whole downtown area is just shops and cafes, and just you could pretty much walk the town and just spend the day. And I didn't have time or energy to do all that then, and I thought, well, my daughter would really like this. So I determined that we were going to go back together, and so we went and spent the day. First of all, I came into town and met Maureen, who is Charming You. She's had the trunk show at Lori's shop, and I still have a coupon code. If you haven't taken advantage of it, please see below for Maureen's coupon code. She is also at the Houston Fibre Festival this weekend, and we met for dinner, so that was really nice. And then the next day, my daughter and I spent the day in McKinney. So I bought some vinyls I got. She got a cute dress and some prints for her wall. And then, of course, I went to McKinney Knittery. And you guys, yes, I got some yarn, but I am so proud of myself on what I got. Because if you've been around for a while, I said the one thing I struggle, even though I've been trying to be conscious of what I buy in yarn, like I'm trying to make sure I get them for a project. I don't buy a bunch of single skeins just random because I like them all. I try to think of a project in mind when I'm buying. But my problem is that I love variegated, highly speckled, crazy yarns. Hi, hello, I have a problem. Which then I buy one skein of. So I don't find myself wanting to buy a lot of the tonals or semi-tonal yarns. But then you think about a core wardrobe, and things that you wear a lot are classic items that are, I do a lot of stripes, but a lot of like t-shirts that are one color or something like that. And I don't know why my brain, even if I buy a whole sweater quantity of a plain color, I'm like, boring. And then I think it's going to be boring to knit and so on. So I'm really bad about it. But I had two projects in mind when I went shopping. And both projects I knew needed to be a tonal or semi-tonal yarn. I knew I didn't want them variegated. I wanted them to be classic, classic wardrobe. So I bought 2 garments worth of yarn. I bought no single skeins, no project bags, even though I saw a bright yellow one from La Bien Ami there that I really wanted. Did not do it. I just bought 2 garments worth of yarn, and they're all tonal. So when I buy yarn and know what I'm going to make, I put them in a bag. And can you see that? I write on them what they are. I have them, that's the only yarn I don't have out where I can see. I have that stuck behind a door. And the reason is every couple of months I go back under there, I look at what that is, and I'm like, 1, do I still like that yarn? Do I still want to work with that yarn? 2, do I still want to make that project, or do I need to find a different project for that yarn? It's easy for me to know exactly what I'm doing. And at this point, too, I usually have it in my Ravelry queue. So it's ready to go. A lot of times at this point too, I have printed the pattern and I usually have that in the bag also. I just haven't done that yet. So this is the first one, and I have talked about this project a lot. I'm not going to get every skein out, but here is the yarn I got. I knew I was getting this yarn. I don't know how you pronounce this. It's Sandnes Garn. I'm just going to show it to you because I will mess that up. This is the colorway Blue Hortensia, and I love this. This is going to be the Montpellier top, and this is on my Make 9 board. I knew all year I was making this, and then when I knew I was going to McKinney and they had this yarn, I was like, okay, well, even if I can't buy anything else, I'm going to buy a sweater quantity there so I can visually see the different colors I have to choose from. Blue is my favorite color, and that is the theme I stuck with this shopping trip. Let me tell you, I love this blue. It's kind of like a cottony cloud. I don't know. It's really great. So excited to make this. Probably when I'm done with my shawl, this will be my next garment cast on for sure, because I really want this. The next thing is this shirt. And I'm going to put in a picture here of it because this is just another classic tank top. If you follow me on Ravelry, I had posted this one, but it has cabling here. And I just thought that was super cool looking. Now this yarn is the Fibre Co. Luma. It is a blend of organic cotton, linen, merino wool, and silk. Now, I picked up this one first. I'm like, yes, 100% yes, love this, love, love, love. And then I picked up this when I was just looking at all the colors they had to choose from with this. These colors that they had for this yarn didn't sing to me as much as a lot of these colors did. And then I picked this and I'm like, oh, that's, I mean, yes, it's lighter, darker, kind of more of a navy, kind of a little green hue to it also. And then I'm like, oh, that's so boring. I'm getting like two colors that are like so similar to each other. So I tried to go back and pick a different color of this. I knew I wanted this. This is like jean jacket, like a light jean jacket. I had to get this. That was no question. So I went back to these colors and I tried to pick a different one. And I picked up another one. I'm like, oh, this color's okay. And then I'm like, what am I doing? What? Why am I going to spend money for a garment and a color that I don't love as much? Every time I looked around at all the colors, my eyes went to this one. So, yep, they're not that far off, but I love this color, and that means to me that I'm going to wear this color. So if you're spending the money on it, buy the color you want. I mean, even if it's similar, who cares? So this is what I got. So I got like plain old yarn. I know it's not. It's special yarn, and it feels great, and it's going to be great to work with. But for me, where I usually buy stuff like this, buying stuff like this was like, I couldn't believe I walked out of there with just these. So, yes, I bought 2 garments. So I've got a bunch of yarn, which I'm super pleased about, for 2 more tank tops. I am still on the tank top train, which I guess is good because it is in Arkansas. I mean, it could well be hot when we're still at the Fibre retreat in September, y'all. So I'll have plenty of tank tops. Let's just say that. So that is all of my acquisitions. Yeah, okay. So I think that is it for today. So we kept it fairly short, you guys. So I hope you all are having a great, it is officially the beginning of summer now, here in the States at least. So I hope you're all having a good summer, you're staying cool, you're enjoying your projects. And again, if you're interested in learning beginner Tunisian Crochet. I hope to see you on August 5th. And also, don't forget about the Arkansas Yarn Crawl. If you're in the area, Arkansas Yarn Co. will be hosting a very special guest. I don't think that they have mentioned who it is yet, so I'm not going to be the first one to say that. But it's a very special guest. So yeah, so make sure you come to the Yarn Crawl. And then, of course, we have our Fibre retreat in September. The last day to sign up for that is the end of July. So the summer is flying. Even though it just officially started, it's flying. So I hope to see you this summer. Let me know what you're making below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't, share. I appreciate you all. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.